The Nigerian theatre scene, once a vibrant and thriving industry, has faced a notable decline in recent years, from dwindling audience interest to financial and infrastructural challenges. What led to this downturn? And we must find out today. Joining me today is Omoye Oriaghan, the producer of the music play Omoye, a true love story, to discuss factors behind the decline theatre in Nigeria. Welcome to the show, Omoye.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you here.
Same here. I'm very excited to be here. And,
nice.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, of course. So can you actually pronounce, before I mess up that name, so as we were just chatting. Okay, so let's pronounce that name again.
Yes,
okay.
It's called Omoye.
Omoye.
Yes.
Okay, but like if it was, it's actually spelled, I would have said Omoye.
Yeah, and I hear that a lot from people from the Yoruba tribe.
Okay.
But then it's an Isan word from Edo State.
Oh.
Omoye.
Omoye. So what does Omoye mean?
Omoye means a beautiful person.
Oh, that's so lovely. That sounds like a wonderful child name.
Well, interestingly, I never grew up hearing it as a name of a person, but many times I hear it used to describe a beautiful person.
Okay.
So when you say this person, when you use the word Omoye for a person, you're trying to say that this person is extremely beautiful.
Nice.
And not just the looks, everything about the person speaks about how beautiful the person is.
Wonderful. I love that. I love a name that always has a meaning. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let's dive into it. Let's talk theatre production. Yes, why this idea of theatre production? And I mean, what gave you the inspiration behind this project?
Okay, I'd say this goes back to exactly 2 years ago, February 2023. Personally, I'm a film lover. I love movies. I love to critique movies, love watching it. And I'd watched one, and I wasn't so impressed about the narrative that the movie was passing across. And so in that state, I was just thinking, how can we help to improve this? And then I caught an inspiration and say, how about you do a play? Like, a play? Really? Omoye, I'm not sure this is your area. Because I am a communicator. I've worked in the non-profit sector for the last 5 years as a communicator. I head the communications department right now at an NGO. And so I've never really done this before. But then it was a good challenge. I struggled with it for more than a year before eventually sitting down to think about the story that I would love to tell, because then again, I needed to have a really good story that would address a number of issues, a number of narratives that I think should be cancelled, and just highlighting a number of issues that I think should be spotlighted, especially with young people, because this play is now targeted at young people. And so all of this led me to coming up with this story and now pushing for this particular production coming up this weekend.
Wow, wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So when you mean young people, what age bracket would that be?
So I'd say from about 15 to 35.
Okay.
Yes,
So above teenagers. Because when you said young people, I was thinking teenagers. Okay, so what kind of challenges and like issues do these young people face that would be addressed in the theatre play?
I'd say one of them is identity. And I'd love to at this point say that a huge or a chunk of the story that will be told through Omoye is some of the challenges that I have faced while growing up. I dealt with a lot of identity issues. And I have noticed and I've seen a lot of young persons, even younger persons than myself, who have this, especially amongst the girl child, right? And I've also found that some of these challenges stem or come from the way we were raised, the kind of environment we grew up in, our parents and how they dealt with us. So identity is definitely one of the things that I've seen one of the challenges I see young persons deal with, just being able to understand themselves. And then also family, just relating with family. You see a lot of young people, they leave home, they just want to run away from home and leave their family and just go and live their lives. And so these are some issues that I see and I'm looking at how can we break these issues. Again, another thing, of course, tying it to some of the SDG goals is gender inequality, where sexual abuse comes in, and some of all these different issues. And a lot of young people are experiencing this depression, addiction, some of these different issues. And this play addresses a number of them.
Oh, that's wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, you definitely highlighted all the issues that a lot of young people face, like identity being one of them, and the family values and the background.
Absolutely.
So basically, you're trying to emphasize the point that family has a role to play with a child's identity. And obviously, like, when the family supports the child, it gives the child that confidence when they go out in the world. And if they don't have that support, they feel like they've lacked something, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so how can you change that narrative for families out there? How do you want to do that? That's a very incredible task.
Yes. I'm not thinking I would just solve all of the world's problem in one day.
I know, right?
But then we'll start somewhere. And
Correct.
this play is one good place to start from. So one, we're bringing young persons, we're bringing families, we're bringing parents, come into the same room. Let's talk about these issues. Let's see what maybe the distortion that comes from the upbringing of a girl child, a boy child, because not just the girl now, there's also a part of the story that addresses the boy child. Correct. So there's some of these distortions while growing up. You would see how on the long run it affects how the girl sees herself and some of the identity issues the boy has. And sometimes it then helps you understand that most of the people you see out there, you're complaining that why are they acting the way they do right now?
There's something behind it.
You trace it back to the way they were raised. And so parents now learn that it's a lot of responsibility to raise a child. And you must learn what it takes to actually raise one. So that's what we are trying to do with this production.
Correct. No, you're 100% correct, because a lot of people do have this attitude or behavior, but if you really trace it, I always say there's something that happened to them when they were growing up. Like, definitely. 100%.
When you trace it, you definitely find it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. So, like, obviously, the theater world is such a huge investment. Like, that's why you don't see a lot of people doing productions every day. And when they do it, they tell you about the fundings and all of that. So, do you think it's profitable in Nigeria at the moment? And how, and this is your first production, but how do you feel it's going to make an impact? And investment-wise, how do you feel it will work?
So I think that, first off, coming into this, my first time, is such an experience. And it's bitter. It's not bittersweet, it's sweet. Let me just say it's bittersweet.
Correct.
Because yes, there's been challenges. You do a play, it requires a lot of funding, right? But then I think what has driven me has been the impact that I really want to see. And remember that I said what inspired me was the narrative that I saw were being displayed in movies. And I'm hoping that someday we'll definitely venture into movies too, but we're starting here. Nice. But with this, we're looking at the challenges. And when I think about the social impact aspect of what I do, it kind of drives me. Now, talking about funding, right? This is in partnership with a church, right? And I work with amazing people. I fellowship with amazing people, amazing pastors, mentors, who when I tell about this, you're just like, oh yes, let's do it. Nice. Okay? It's good to see people come up to do this. And again, young people like myself, I tell a few of my friends, I'm like, we're doing this. And so we're all coming together and we're pushing it. And then when people see the zeal, they're like, okay, I think I should fund this. So we've gotten a lot of fundings from people who just are looking at us and like, I love the narrative that you're trying to drive, and we're doing a lot of publicity. So everybody now knows this is what we're doing. So again, one way to go further with this is partnerships. And we're definitely open to partnerships and saying, we want to change narratives. We want to impact lives. That's our goal. It's not just really about making money. So partner with us and let's make the world a better place. And
change, obviously, the narrative of the family background with the child, so that we can produce more wonderful children in the world that don't have to face mental challenges because of their family heritage or thereabouts. Absolutely. It's very, very, very important.
Yes.
Thank you, Omoye, for this wonderful chat. We've learned so much from you, and we hope your event works out perfectly this weekend. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.